I hate jumping on bandwagons, but I did it, and I'm glad I did. I even got a cup of tea for the occasion. Bridgerton is an insanely well shot, well acted, well written, and well dressed show, and it's a refreshing vibe, I dare say. My pinky must be out at all times. While the main plot is predictable, you know, guy doesn't want to marry, girl wants to marry for love, she thinks that he's insufferable, they end up falling in love anyway, yada yada. The way the main event of falling in love is done is actually really original, and the branching stories from the main story are actually really original as well and very well thought out. So let's grab our cup of tea and just simp over this real quick. Let me just brag about the costume design. This takes place in 1813, and I can't say for sure if every costume is historically accurate, but this is Jane Austen-esque times, and the costumes are brilliant. The detail to the embroidery, as well as the matching of the two main families with their clothes and coordination to the color and the vibe of their house, is chef's kiss. The Featherington household is my preferred household, and that's because underneath it all, I'm actually just a granny who loves embroidery and florals, so if you couldn't tell. This cast is so brilliantly cast. The reigning character to me is definitely Lady Danbury. She just takes the freaking cake. She has an unmatched, powerful presence on the screen, and she immediately became one of my favorite characters. The colors of the show can only be described as poppin', because truly, they're like popping off the screen. I've always adored a more somber environment with contrasting colors, such as a gray English sky being the background for a vibrant color palette. I love period pieces, but often I find that dialogue can be very hard to keep up with. Whether it's my age or attention span, which I don't believe it is because I will always not have a great one, the dialect in this is easier to follow, even though the dialect is that of the 1800s. The soundtrack for this is an absolute banger, and you cannot change my mind. Instead of pulling Sofia Coppola from Marie Antoinette and blatantly blasting modern music against the backdrop of the French Revolution, this soundtrack in Bridgerton offers modern bops, but put to the tune of violins and other era-appropriate instruments. My favorite thing about this season is that although Daphne loves Simon, it's not love that brings their union together. It's a scandal that does. The ordeal of getting married to Simon all of a sudden feels stressful and inconvenient, instead of feeling like the perfect match happily skipping to the altar. This twist of events was actually so appropriate because not only did it break the expectation of the predictable union between the two, but it shows that even the perfect match won't go down an easy and traditional path to be together. And it just be like that sometimes. So with something that's been so beautifully done and remarkably tied up for the most part, do we need a season 2? This is where I get worried, because typically if we jump season to season to season, we can see a natural digression in the quality and the overall care that's put into series and episodes, and I really don't want it to happen to Bridgerton. But it is Netflix, so you never know. At this point in the series, at the end of this season 1, all of our questions have been answered, and most fates have been decided, except for the Featherington women who have lost their family patriarch. We know who Lady Whistleton is. We see that Marina finally decides to marry her baby daddy's brother because girls gotta eat. What else could there be? These are my hopes for season 2. Since Netflix has announced a season 2, I haven't looked into it at all because I'd rather go into this hopeful for what I see in season 2 than bitching about what they already have planned. I'm hoping that we see more Marina and her life with her new husband, learning to love, learning that maybe their connection wasn't that strong to begin with, but it can grow. And I'd like to see a cultivation of a stronger friendship with Penn like she did have in the series at one point. I personally would have rather waited until season 2 to see the birth of Simon and Daphne's child. I felt like it was a little rushed to have it at the end of season 1. But since that's wrapped up, I'm sure and I'm hopeful that we'll see internal struggles within Simon going into fatherhood, kind of dealing with the trauma that he dealt with from how his father was to him, which was awful. I really hope they unravel what happened with the Featherington patriarch because that really wasn't too detailed. Like, you got the gist of it, but I'd like some more details. Will Penn go and chase after her beloved Bridgerton boy? Or nah? Will Eloise discover the hidden truth of the identity of Lady Whistleton that has been in front of her this whole time? And also, I'd love to see Julie Andrews. I know she's the narrator and that's like her gig, but I just want to see that goddess on screen. That's everything I have for Bridgerton, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I really actually love this series. I love period pieces, so yeah, just tell me what you thought. That would be cool. So anyway, until next time.